All right, thanks, guys. We went 2-1 yesterday with a push in our 4 premium picks on patreon.com/Brock Page. It's going to put us at 6-2 with a push in our last 9 picks on that site. We're also 8-3 with a push in our last dozen daily best plays on that site. And of course, the daily best play is one of the memberships that we offer on that site, and it's just $1.99 per month. The link for that website is in the description section below. I highly recommend that you at least check it out. A lot of good information there. Once again, patreon.com/Brock Page. All right, guys, we got ourselves a very good slate of NBA action. Should be a great night of watching sports and betting sports. So let's go ahead and get into it. Beginning with the Sixers taking on the Raptors, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Toronto. The Raptors open 6, up to -7. Total open 216, down to 215 and a hook. 51% of the consensus are leaning toward Philadelphia. 65% shaded toward the over. And right now the Sixers are plus 250 on the money line. Now the Sixers have won their last 4 straight games. They also rank in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage. They're right in that 5th seed in the Eastern Conference right now, and they're only just 1 game back of Toronto for the 3rd place spot in the conference. Now, Philadelphia, they rank in the top 10 in offensive rebounding, top 3 in points allowed. Tobias Harris is averaging 19 points a game, 7 rebounds. Ben Simmons, he is just blasting the stat book this year. 16 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 steals per contest for Ben Simmons. And Al Horford, 13 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists for him. Philadelphia certainly in certain spots looking like a very complete basketball team. They rank in the top 3 in defensive rebounding, top 10 in points allowed on the road. They're giving up just 105 points per contest. Now, Toronto on the other side, just 4-5 against the spread in their last 9. They rank in the bottom 5 in defensive rebounding. They're also in the bottom 3 in defensive rebounding on their home court. Now, total-wise, Toronto's 4-0 to the over in their last 4, 6-2 to the over in their last 8. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me Philadelphia plus 7 and the over 215.5 in that game. Next matchup, Thunder taking on the Magic, 7 o'clock Orlando. The Magic open as the 1-point favorite, up to -1.5. Total open 209, up to 209 and a hook. 59% are leaning Orlando, 67% on the over. Right now, OKC is plus 105 on the money line. Now, when it comes to this Thunder team, they're definitely banged up. Nader and Ferguson are out. Noel and Adams are questionable. Having said that, though, OKC has covered 70% of their games in their last 10. They covered against the likes of Philadelphia and the Houston Rockets twice. Now, OKC ranks in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage, top 10 in offensive rebounding on the road. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 20 points, 6 rebounds on average for him. Danilo Gallinari, 19 points a game, 6 rebounds for OKC. And Dennis Schroeder, 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. OKC ranks in the top 3 in points allowed on the road, top 10 in defensive field goal percentage on the road as well. This OKC squad is giving up just 105 points per contest. They are in that 7th seed in the Western Conference right now, and they are 4.5 games ahead of Memphis. So they are kind of tucked nice and tight there in that 7th spot right now. One more thing to add about OKC, they rank in the top 3 in defending the 3 ball on the road. Meanwhile, Orlando on the other side, losers of 2 out of their last 3. They're also struggling to cover the point spread at home. They covered just 9 out of their 21 home games this year. They rank in the bottom 3 in scoring, bottom 3 in offensive field goal percentage. Pretty much whenever I'm fading Orlando, I always bring that up. The fact that they just did not have a whole lot of offensive production. Once again, bottom 3 in scoring, bottom 3 in offensive field goal percentage. They're averaging just 103 points per contest. Now, the Magic, they rank 20th in defensive rebounding, and they rank dead last in the NBA in home scoring. No surprises here. Orlando 3-0 to the under in their last 3, 80% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, OKC 13-8 to the under when traveling this year. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. I'm also going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and lean OKC plus 2. and the under 209.5 in that contest. Next game, Kings taking on the Pistons, 7 o'clock Detroit. The Pistons open as the 1-point favorite. They moved down. This is now a pick'em contest in Detroit. Total open 222 up to 223. 54% are leaning Detroit, 51% shaded toward the over. Now, if you like Sacramento in this spot here, just keep in mind they lost their last 5 straight. They also failed to cover the point spread in those 5 games. They rank in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 5 in offensive rebounding. Holmes is out. Bazemore is questionable. Sacramento, they rank in the bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage, bottom 10 in road scoring. They're averaging just 106 points per contest away from home. They've had 22 road games thus far in the year. They've been victorious in just 7 of them. They rank dead last in the NBA in road offensive rebounding, and they're in the bottom 3 in road defensive field goal percentage. Now, Detroit on the other side, winners of 2 out of their last 3. And believe it or not, this Pistons team ranks in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage. Now, Morris has been upgraded to probable. Jackson has been upgraded to probable. And Drummond actually has been upgraded to questionable. So we should see Morris and Jackson, and we might see Drummond as well in action tonight. But regardless, Derrick Rose, 18 points a game, 6 assists for him. He is on the trading block. But as of right now, as far as I know, we should see Rose tonight. Andre Drummond looks like there is a possibility that he will play. He's averaging 16 rebounds a game, 17 points, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Nobody's talking about Drummond. He's actually having a great year, especially with regard to those boards. Now, Markieff Morris, he's averaging 11 points a game, 4 rebounds. We should definitely see him in action tonight. Detroit ranks in the top 5 in defensive rebounding, top 5 in shooting the 3 ball at home as well. Now, total-wise, Detroit, 80% to the over in their last 10. Sacramento, 7-2 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean Detroit, winning that one outright in the pick'em, and the over 223 in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and warmly welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Wednesday's NBA action. Happy Wednesday to you guys. Happy hump day. We're halfway there. The weekend is almost here. Now, before we go ahead and dive into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube, I just want to quickly remind you once again to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium sports picks on that site beginning at just $1.99 per month. Now, guys, yesterday we went 2-1 with a push in our 4 premium picks on that site. That's going to put us at 6-2 with a push in our last 9 picks on that site. And we are 8-3-1 in our last dozen daily best plays on that site. Now, you might be wondering, well, why would I buy a package from you, Brock, when you're giving me all the picks for free on YouTube? And that's certainly a great thought, a great question. And you're, exactly right. I do free lines of personal leans here on YouTube in hopes that you would, check out my website. I do handicap every single game. I don't have stay-away games. I don't tell you to take, this team or pass. I'm not going to, waste 5 minutes of your time breaking down a game and then tell you stay away from this one. I will give you the benefit of the doubt and giving you an opinion on every single game side and total. But the problem with that is if you were to bet your hard-earned money on every single game side and total, it's just a losing formula. It is not a winning formula for success. It's just too many games. The math becomes very aggressively against you if you bet that way every single game on the board. So what I do on Patreon, I make life a lot easier for you. I just break it down into 3 to 4 premium picks per day. We just focus in on a very limited amount of picks. They're games that I personally have action on, and they're certainly high percentage selections. And if you want to check out my current Patreon record, you can do that for free right now. It's right on the homepage. Once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Lakers taking on the Knicks. 7:30 Eastern tip-off at MSG. The Lakers open as the 10-point favorite, up to -11. Total open 223.5, down to 223 even. 70% are leaning Lakers, 61% on the over. The Knicks are plus 550. The Knicks have also lost 8 out of their last 10. They covered just 30% of their games in their last 10 as well. Morris and Smith are questionable. the Knicks are just 6-15 at Madison Square Garden this year. They rank in the bottom 3 in scoring in the NBA. They're in the 13th seed in the Eastern Conference. They are 7.5 games back of that 8th seed. So they are certainly far away on the outside looking in with regard to the playoff scenario. But anyway, the Lakers on the other side, I think we all know what we're getting with them. Top 10 in scoring, top 3 in offensive field goal percentage. AD's averaging 27 points a game, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. LeBron, 25 points a game, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. And Kyle Kuzma, 13 points a game, 4 rebounds for the Lakers. LA ranks in the top 10 in points allowed, top 3 in defensive rebounding. Now, 4 out of the Knicks' last 4 games all stayed under the total. They're also 14-7 to the under at MSG. I'm going to lean Lakers minus 11 and the under 223 in that game. Next contest, Grizzlies, Celtics, 7:30 Boston. The Celtics open 8.5 down to 7.5. Total open 229.5 up to 230 and a hook. 64% are leaning Boston, 51% on the under. Right now, Memphis is plus 245 on the money line. The Grizzlies rank in the bottom 5 in points allowed, bottom 10 in defending the 3-ball. They're giving up 116 points per contest, and they're ranking the bottom 10 in points allowed on the road. Now, Boston on the other side, very good at the Garden. 17-5 straight up at home, 13-9 against the spread in those 22 home games. They're in 4th place in the Eastern Conference, and they're just half a game back of Toronto for that 3rd seed right now. Now, Jaylen Brown has been listed as out, so we're not going to see him in action. But Kemba Walker, he's been upgraded to probable, and he's averaging 22 points a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Jason Tatum, 22 points a game, 7 rebounds for him. And Gordon Hayward, 16 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for the Celtics. Boston's in the top 5 in points allowed, top 10 in defensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, Boston's 4-0 to the over in their last 4, 6-2 to the over in their last 8. Meanwhile, Memphis 5-4 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean Boston minus 7.5 and the over 230 and a hook in that game. Next matchup, Wizards taking on the Heat, 7:30 Miami. The Heat opened 10.5 down to minus 10. Total opened 228 up to 229. 67% are leaning Miami, 55% on the under. Right now, Washington is plus 430 on the money line. Washington really struggling on the road this year. Winners of just 5 out of their 22 road games. They rank in the bottom 3 in offensive rebounding. They're right in that 12th seed right now. 4 games back of the 8th seed, though, so don't count them out. They're still within striking distance, but like I said, they are in the 12th seed at just 14-28 overall for the year. Now, they rank dead last in points allowed, dead last in defensive field goal percentage. They're giving up 120 points per contest, and their opponents are shooting 49% from the field. Now, Miami on the other side, virtually unbeatable at home. 19-1 straight up on their home court. 15-5 against the spread in those 20 home games. They rank in the top 3 in shooting the 3-ball, top 3 in defensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, Miami 13-7 to the over in South Beach. I'm going to lean Miami minus 10 and the over 229 in that game. Next matchup, it is going to be Clippers taking on the Hawks, 7:30 Atlanta. The Clippers open 5.5 down to 3.5. Total open 232 up to 235 and a hook. 68% are leaning Clippers, 52% on the over. Right now the Hawks are plus 150 at home. Now Atlanta's really struggled on their home court. Winners of just 5 out of their 21 home games this year. They're in last place in the Eastern Conference. They have the second to worst record in the NBA at just 10-34 in the year. Jabari Parker still out indefinitely. Alex Len, he's listed as questionable for tonight's action. Atlanta's in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 3 in offensive rebounding. Now the Clippers on the other side, winners of their last 4 straight. They're also 8-2 straight up in their last 10. Victories against Dallas and a streaking Pelicans squad during that stretch. Now the Clippers are in the top 5 in scoring, top 3 in offensive rebounding. Paul George and Patrick Beverley, they are listed as questionable. Kawhi is listed as questionable as well. It looks like it could be a load management night for Kawhi, but regardless, Lou Williams, he's averaging 20 points a game, 6 assists. Montrezl Harrell, 7 rebounds a game, 19 points for him. This LA squad, They're in second place in the Western Conference, just 3.5 games back of the Lakers for first place in the entire Western Conference. Now, 3 out of the Clippers' last 4 games got over the number. Atlanta 7-2 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean Clippers -3.5 and the over 235 and a hook in that game. Next matchup, Timberwolves taking on the Bulls. 8 o'clock, Windy City. We had ourselves a good old-fashioned flip of the line in this one. Minnesota open +1, now -1. Total open 219.5 up to 220. 53% are leaning Minnesota. 59% shaded toward the over. Right now, Chicago's +103 on the money line. The Bulls have lost 7 out of their last 10. They've also won just 9 out of their 23 home games this year. Bulls rank in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 10 in offensive rebounding. They are currently in the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference, 4.5 games back of the 8th seed. They rank in the bottom 10 in defensive rebounding, bottom 3 in home scoring. They are averaging just 105 points per contest on their home court. Now, Minnesota on the other side, excuse me, pretty good covering the number when traveling. They are 13-9 against the spread on the road, top 10 in offensive rebounding. They're also in the top 10 in road scoring. They're averaging 114 points per contest away from home. Karl-Anthony Towns, 26 points a game, 11 rebounds. Wiggins, 22 points a game, 5 rebounds for him. And big shot Bobby Covington, 13 points a game, 6 rebounds for the T-Wolves. 6 out of Minnesota's last 9 got over the number. They're also 13-9 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean Minnesota -1 and the over 220 in that matchup. Next game, Nuggets taking on the Rockets, 8 o'clock Houston. The Rockets open as the 7-point favorite, up to -8.5. Total open 226.5, up to 228. 54% are leaning Houston, 57% shaded toward the over. Right now, Denver's +345 on the money line. Now, when it comes to this Nuggets team, they are banged up as well. Millsap is still out indefinitely. Jamal Murray still out indefinitely as well. Mason Plumlee looks like he's going to be out for about a month with a foot injury. And Gary Harris has been downgraded to doubtful for tonight's action. But despite that, Denver, being banged up and all, still winners of 6 out of their last 8. They covered 60% of their games in their last 10. They have successful covers over the likes of the Clippers, Dallas, and Indiana during that stretch. Denver ranks in the top 3 in points allowed, top 10 in defensive rebounding. They certainly lock it down on the defensive end of the court. Nikola Jokic, 19 points a game, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Will Barton, 15 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists for him. And Jeremy Grant, 10 points a game, 3 rebounds for the Nuggets. Denver's been a very good road team this year, 13-7 straight up when traveling. They also rank in the top 3 in shooting the 3-ball on the road, and they're giving up just 105 points per contest. Now, Houston on the other side, kind of sputtering right now, right in the middle of a 4-game losing streak. They've also dropped 5 out of their last 6 games as well. They went just 1-6 against the spread in their last 7, failing to cover against the likes of Portland, Memphis, and Atlanta during that stretch. Now, Houston just 10-11 against the spread at the Toyota Center. They rank in the bottom 10 in offensive field goal percentage, bottom 10 in points allowed. They're giving up 114 points per contest. Now, 6 out of Houston's last 8, ironically, did stay under the total. Meanwhile, Denver 5-2 to the under in their last 7 themselves. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and lean toward the road dog. I like Denver +9 and the over 228 in that contest. Next matchup, Indiana taking on Phoenix, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in the desert. The Pacers open as the 1-point favorite, up to -1.5. Total open 222, down to 221 and a hook. 57% are leaning Indiana, 58% shaded toward the over. And right now the Suns are +105 on the money line. 3 out of the Suns' last 4 games got over the total. Meanwhile, the Pacers are 70% to the over in their last 10. I like the over 221.5 in this one. And if you want to see who I'm picking with regard to the spread, go to my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And whoever I'm picking on the side today, that is my daily best play. So link for that site is in the description section below. And to find out who I am picking in this game, it's only going to cost you just $1.99 through the end of the month. All right, guys, next matchup, it is going to be Spurs taking on the Pelicans, 9:30 New Orleans. The Pels open 4, down to -3.5. Total open 235.5, up to 236 and a hook. 61% are leaning Pelicans, 62% on the over. Right now, the Spurs are plus 145 on the money line. And that's right, you guessed it. Zion Williamson, his debut for the Pelicans is tonight. We will finally see Zion in action. Now, before I go ahead and talk about the Pelicans, I do want to remind you that San Antonio, they're 5-3 straight up in their last 8, 6-3 against the spread in their last 9. They've successfully covered the point spread over the likes of Miami, Toronto, Boston, and Milwaukee twice. They rank in the top 10 in scoring, top 10 in offensive rebounding. They're averaging 114 points per game. DeMar DeRozan, 23 points a game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists for the Spurs. LaMarcus Aldridge, 19 points a game, 7 rebounds for him. And Patty Mills is averaging a dozen for the Spurs. We're looking at a San Antonio squad who ranks in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage, top 5 in shooting the 3 ball. They're shooting 37% from downtown this year. Now, when it comes to this New Orleans squad, like I said, Zion making his debut. New Orleans showing some life as of late, putting together a few wins. But just keep in mind, New Orleans really struggles at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans. Winners of just 8 out of their 21 home games this year. Plus, they're really, really banged up. Redick, Holiday, Favors, Okafor, and Hart. They're all listed as questionable for tonight's action. So although Zion is getting the start, well, I don't know if he's getting the start, but he's making a debut. So although Zion, we will see him in action tonight, not sure if he'll have a supporting cast with him. Regardless, New Orleans ranks in the bottom 3 in points allowed, even when they're healthy. Bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage. They're giving up 118 points per contest on average. Now, this is a really, really interesting trend here. New Orleans, 11-0 to the over in their last 11. Their last 11 straight games all went over the total. Meanwhile, San Antonio, 6-3 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean Spurs plus 3.5 and the over 236.5 in that game. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Jazz Warriors, 10 o'clock Golden State. The Jazz open as the 9-point favorite, down to 8.5. Total open 217 up to 218 and a hook. 73% are leaning Utah, 76% shaded toward the over. And right now, Golden State's plus 340 on the money line. Now, Draymond Green and Glenn Robinson, they are listed as questionable for the Warriors. Golden State, they are in last place in the Western Conference. Meanwhile, on the other side, Rudy Gobert, he's been upgraded to probable for the Jazz. Utah's won 9 out of their last 10 straight. I'm going to lean Utah minus 8.5 and the under 218 and a hook in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium sports picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. Shout out to Kiki McBride, Thibault7996. Shout out to Eric Sadowski, Juanito 1975. Shout out to Prod by AR, Roger Williams. Shout out to Rocco at Rocco's Pizzeria, my Rocco, my paisan. Good to see you in the comments section. Shout out to Gusto Auto, M&P Shield, Jordan Morgan. Shout out to Face Off, Carlos Hidalgo, Kenny Brown, Vernon Williard. And last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my man Ricky Braun, who I actually ran into last night at the bar. Had a couple beers with him. Totally random. He approached me. I was checking my games, placing a couple bets on the phone. He came up to me. He's like, dude, are you Brock Page? And I said, I don't know. That depends if I've won or lost your money. He's like, dude, I watch you every day. I can't believe you're here. So, Ricky, great hanging out with you last night. And best of luck to you. And I'm sure we'll probably bump into each other at some time in the near future. All right, guys. That's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on Patreon. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. We're connecting with the world here through YouTube, making friends, not only online, but in person. But once again, I got to thank you for joining me here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Wednesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.